So guys, this week we actually got our first sneak peek of the next major update that's coming to Insurgency Sandstorm, which we now know is going to be called Operation Breakaway. And just like the last major update, Nightfall, it looks like this one might be focused on a specific theme. So guys, this is BillyEatWorld again, and let's find out. Alright guys, how you going? Welcome to the video, and like I said, today we've got some new info on Insurgency Sandstorm 1.8 Operation Breakaway. But just before we get into that, I just want to quickly have a chat about a minor patch that came out recently that we haven't talked about yet, called 1.7.1 Clean Sweep. Now, on its own, Clean Sweep was mainly only a patch designed to fix a bunch of bugs, which is why I didn't make a video about it, but it did also add in a couple of new features like transparent mags for the G36K and speed reloads for a few of the MGs. But not just that, it also added in a flat top upgrade for the M4A1 and the M16, so just bear that in mind because we're actually going to see that feature in just a sec. Now moving on, as for 1.8, well, it is still early days yet, so we don't really have a lot of info at the moment, but what we do have is a couple of important details to talk about, most importantly the release date, which is going to be October 6th. And not just that, but the devs have also created a web page for the content drops, just like they did with Nightfall, where they're going to announce the new features over the next couple of weeks. I'll leave a link to that down below. Now, even though they haven't started unlocking anything on that website yet, turns out the devs have actually teased quite a lot of the details already in the key art, and so that's what we're going to take a look at today in this video. But just before we get into that, I just want to say a big thank you to John from the community team over at New Worlds, because he actually gave me a high-res copy of this artwork at very short notice so we could make this video today. Alright, so first up, the main thing you can see here is two guys in the center of the key art, pretty kitted out, and if you look closely, you'll actually see the guy on the right is wearing some kind of Middle Eastern police SWAT uniform. And not just that, but they're also taking cover behind what looks to be a police car, and at first, that kind of got me thinking, well, maybe this could be some kind of police SWAT DLC. But then I looked a bit closer and I realized that, well, firstly, the two guys running on the outside are actually wearing more standard security outfits. And not just that, but the guy on the right is holding a TOS shotgun, which kind of implies that the guys in the middle are both on the insurgent team. Now, if you're quick, you might have actually already realized that we haven't seen a couple of these guns before. It looks like we're going to be getting a couple of new bullpup rifles with Breakaway. The guy in the center left is actually holding what looks to be a French FAMAS with an ACOG scope. We've already got that in the game. And the security guy on the right is running with an Austrian Steyr AUG, which looks like it's got its standard Steyr sight on it. Now, normally New Worlds releases guns in pairs, and I think it's probably safe to assume that both of these guns, being bullpups, are probably pairs, and they're going to be on the same class, which I'd have to guess would probably be the Advisor, just purely because that's already the class that has the bullpup assault rifles. And not just that, they haven't had any love for a while now, and they've actually got two less weapons available than, for example, the Rifleman class does. Now, moving on, apart from the obvious new weapons, I kind of initially thought maybe the guy on the far left had some kind of new M4 variant, but then I actually remembered, like I said before, that we've now got that new flat top upgrade. And so as you can see, the rifle in the artwork doesn't have the front sight post, which is exactly what the flat top upgrade does. But I was still kind of confused because the M4A1 doesn't have that rail on the side. And then I remembered that underbarrel grenade launchers add a rail to the side, but here's the catch. If you look closely, that's actually not a grenade launcher. What it is an underbarrel shotgun attachment, kind of like the Lockhart UBS-12 or maybe even the Master Key, which once again makes a lot of sense considering the SWAT theme. Once again though, usually New World adds this kind of stuff to each faction in pairs, and although we can't actually see any new shotguns for the Insurgent team, the left-hand side guy has got shotgun shells on his wrist. but he's also holding a rifle, which kind of makes me wonder if what we're not seeing is some kind of new maybe shotgun secondary weapon. And look, obviously I'm just speculating here, but the UBS-12 does actually have a stock that allows it to be used on its own. And considering the guy on the left is using an M4A1, well, he can't be a breacher either. So my guess would be maybe we're getting some kind of all-kit secondary shotguns. But look, even if we can't confirm that yet, what this does really hint at is that we are going to be seeing shotguns on a few more classes other than just the breacher pretty soon. Now, apart from these things and obviously some of the cosmetics that I haven't actually talked about yet in this video, I'm sure if you look even closer, you'll probably find a bunch of other stuff as well. And please, if you do, make sure you put that in the comment section down below. But with that being said, from what we've already spoken about, I think we can make a pretty good prediction of where the devs are going with the theme of this DLC. Obviously, assuming that that uniform on the center right isn't just a one-off cosmetic item, it looks like the DLC is in some way going to be SWAT related. And like I said before, it's kind of weird that the police don't seem to be aligned with the good guys. And considering the update is called Operation Breakaway, maybe this is a hint at some kind of green on blue situation where, for example, the local government forces have betrayed the security forces and sided with the insurgents. Now, obviously, this is all just complete speculation, so take all of it with a massive grain of salt. But if that is the case, I think it would be a really good thing for the game because it's probably going to mean the insurgent team is going to get a bit more high-tech gear. The guy in the center left in particular looks pretty kitted out, and not just that, but I should mention he's got a pretty interesting patch on his shoulder as well, which I don't really recognize, but it kind of looks a little bit like a bad guy symbol. To be honest, it kind of reminds me of the CSAT faction in Arma 3, if you've ever played that game. They're basically the bad guys with all the high-tech gear who come in and side with the local forces against NATO. And once again, I'm just pulling this out of thin air, so I could be completely wrong, but you've got to admit whatever they're doing looks pretty interesting, and hopefully we'll be able to answer all of these questions over the next couple of weeks. But anyway, guys, that just about wraps this one up. So as always, make sure you let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And not just that, but just before we go, I should mention if you do want more info on anything you've seen in this video, I'll leave the links to the dev blogs as usual in the description. And also you might want to check out the New World Twitch channel on September 10th because there's apparently going to be a dev stream with even more details of the new content to come. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and please feel free to check out the links in the description if you want to see any more of these videos. And also don't forget you can find my Twitter and Discord links down there as well if you want to keep in touch. And as always, until next time, see you later, and have a good one.